Greetings! Welcome to our SS English channel. Today we are going to discuss the lesson, A Letter to God from Class X English.
Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and break down G.L. Fuentes' classic and honestly just super captivating short story, A Letter to God. It's this brilliant tale that explores the absolute depths of human belief and the totally unpredictable nature of fate. We're going to do a full summary of the story with our supporting animated video, making sure to mention every single character and every major event along the way. And hey, real quick, before we jump into the breakdown, make sure you subscribe to the SS English channel for more structured visual explainers just like this one.
So we're going to explore this really fascinating question as we uncover a narrative all about unwavering faith and, well, some pretty profound irony. I mean, it sounds like the setup for a joke, right? But the way Fuentes crafts this narrative, it actually becomes a deeply moving and surprisingly humorous study of human nature. Seriously, ask yourself, how would you react if an unexpected tragedy just completely wiped out your entire livelihood overnight?
Section 1. The Farmer and His Field. Let's establish the world of our protagonist here. Just picture a solitary house, the only one in the entire valley, sitting right there on the crest of a low Latin American hill.
To truly grasp the scope of this story, we first need to meet our complete cast of characters. It starts, of course, with our protagonist, Lencho. He's a remarkably dedicated and hardworking farmer. Then we have his wife, who we meet while she's busy preparing supper. The older boys, who are out doing the heavy lifting in the field, and the younger boys playing right near the house. Later on, our setting is going to shift, and we'll meet the local postman, as well as his boss, the fat, amiable postmaster.
Now back to our farmer. The earth around his house really only needs one thing, a good downpour, or, at least a decent shower. Throughout the entire morning, Lencho does nothing but look eagerly at the northeast sky. He intimately knows his vulnerable, flower-dotted cornfield, and he confidently predicts that rain is finally coming. His wife, bustling about making dinner, just calmly agrees, saying that if it's God's will, they will indeed get some water.
Section 2. The Devastating Hailstorm. Now, what's really interesting about this next event is how quickly a blessing transforms into an absolute curse. Just as the family sits down for their evening meal, exactly as Lencho predicted, big drops of rain begin to fall. The air is fresh and sweet. It's a great moment. And this brilliantly illustrates the author's use of metaphor. Lencho is so thrilled he goes outside for absolutely no other reason than to just feel the rain on his body. He tells his family that these aren't raindrops at all. They are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces, and the little ones are 5s. It's literally pure profit falling from the sky. But then, a strong wind begins to blow. The profitable rain turns into massive hailstones. The story compares these to new silver coins and frozen pearls. But unlike those sweet raindrops, these represent total, unavoidable destruction. While the younger boys excitedly run out into the storm to collect these frozen pearls, Lencho is terrified. He's hoping it passes quickly, but it doesn't. For a solid hour, the hail just batters the house, the garden, the hillside, and the whole valley. Visualize the tragic aftermath here. The field is completely white. It looks as if it were covered entirely with salt. Not a single leaf remains on the trees. The flowers are gone from the plants. The corn is totally destroyed. Lencho stands right in the very middle of his ruined livelihood, his soul just filled with sadness. He turns to his sons and delivers this incredibly devastating line. A plague of locusts would have left more than this. He realizes right then and there that they will have 0 corn this year, and they might truly face starvation. Section 3. A Letter to God. So the crucial point here is how the family reacts that sorrowful night. Think about your own lowest moments for a second. Where do you turn when everything seems utterly lost? Despite the total destruction of their farm, there is a single hope remaining in the hearts of everyone living in that solitary house. Help from God. They comfort each other, repeating the phrase, "No one dies of hunger," fully believing that God's eyes see everything, even what is buried deep in a person's conscience. Now, Lencho is described as an ox of a man who works like an absolute animal in the fields, but importantly, he does know how to read and write. And we get to watch how this incredibly unique Sunday errand unfolds. At daybreak on the following Sunday, he drafts a letter. He then makes the journey all the way into town, places a stamp on the envelope, and drops it into the mailbox. And the address on the envelope, simply, to God.
Inside that envelope, he explicitly asks God for exactly 100 pesos. Why that specific amount? Well, because it's the exact number he calculates is necessary to sow his field all over again and keep his family alive until the next harvest comes in. He explains all of this in the letter, laying out his desperate financial situation directly to the Almighty.
Section 4. The Postmaster's Generosity. This brings us over to the post office. A postman, who also helps sort the mail, finds this inexplicably addressed letter. I mean, he's never seen anything like it in his entire career. He laughs heartily, just absolutely cracking up, and immediately walks over to hand it to his boss. That boss is the postmaster, a fat, amiable, really friendly guy. And his reaction happens in 3 distinct emotional steps. First, he also breaks out laughing. But second, he suddenly turns completely serious. He taps the letter on his desk and marvels out loud, saying, "What faith?" Third, to ensure that this incredible, unwavering faith in God isn't shaken by silence, he resolves right then and there to answer the letter himself.
But upon opening the envelope, the postmaster realizes that mere goodwill, ink, and paper aren't going to cut it. He needs actual cash to answer this prayer. So he rallies the troops. He gives a part of his own salary, he asks for contributions from his fellow post office employees, and he even reaches out to several of his friends, asking them to donate to a simple act of charity.
But even with everyone pooling their money together, it's just impossible to gather the full 100 pesos. The postmaster manages to collect a little more than half, exactly 70 pesos. So he places this money in an envelope addressed to Lencho, and inside he includes a letter containing only a single word as a signature: God.
Section 5. The Ironic Twist. Let's fast forward to the following Sunday and see how this builds to one of the most memorable and, frankly, ironic climaxes in literature. Lencho actually arrives at the post office a bit earlier than usual to ask if there is a letter for him.
Notice the stark contrast in this moment. The postman hands the letter directly to Lencho. Meanwhile, the postmaster is watching closely from his office window, filled with the deep contentment of a man who knows he has just performed a remarkably good deed. He is waiting to see Lencho's tears of joy, but look at Lencho's actual reaction. He shows absolutely not the slightest surprise, not at all. His confidence in God is so absolute that receiving a cash delivery straight from heaven is literally just business as usual for him.
But then, things take a sharp turn. Lencho opens the envelope and counts the cash. Instead of being grateful, he grows immediately angry. He firmly believes God could not have made a math mistake, and there is no way God would have denied his request. So, knowing he is short 30 pesos, he immediately heads over to the public writing window and asks for paper and ink.
You can see his aggressive body language escalates step by step here. First, he sits at the public writing table and drafts a second letter, his brow heavily wrinkled with the effort of expressing his ideas. Second, he marches to the window to buy a stamp. Third, he licks the stamp and just, bam, affixes it to the envelope with a literal blow of his fist. Finally, he marches over and drops the new letter straight into the mailbox. The very second he leaves, the eager postmaster rushes over and opens it up.
And this is what the postmaster reads. God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me. Send me the rest, since I need it very much. But then comes the kicker. But don't send it to me through the mail, because the post office employees are a bunch of crooks. Signed, Lencho. Just imagine the postmaster's jaw hitting the floor. Lencho just branded the very people who sacrificed their own hard-earned money to help him as a gang of thieves.
This just profoundly illustrates the thematic irony of the story. Think about it. In Lencho's reality, his faith in the divine is absolute, but his faith in his fellow humans is entirely non-existent. He truly honestly thinks they stole from him. Yet the actual reality is that humanity prevailed. The post office employees are his secret, generous benefactors who literally gave out of their own pockets to save his family.
It's a tragic, deeply humorous, and super thought-provoking ending that really forces us to ask this final question. Did Lencho's absolute focus on the divine blind him to the very real, very human miracle that happened right in front of his face? It definitely leaves us to wonder just how that postmaster truly felt as he stood there holding that second letter. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and don't forget to keep questioning the narrative.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our SS English channel.